Now, as of recent, the way that the CP0 has been monitoring things has been very calculated, whereas they seem to have an eye on everything that's taking place on Onigashima, and they seem to know how to navigate things depending on what happens. What's also interesting to talk about is how they infiltrated the island in the first place, because this is very weird. Did they initially come with Orochi? Because we know that Orochi had ties to these guys. Earlier in the arc, we know that he was trying to negotiate with them into obtaining Vegapunk. Or did they come to Onigashima by themselves, which I still think makes a lot of sense because these guys basically specialize in infiltration, so that's no surprise there. But from what we know so far, it doesn't seem like Orochi is working with these guys, and if you notice, there seems to be a spy within Kaido's crew working with them and telling them everything that's happening, which we do see is one of the Maoris that is informing them of all the events that's taking place on Onigashima, and that's how they know how much force each side has. So it should be obvious that Kaido's unaware of this because he allied with Big Mom to go up against the world government in the first place. So Kaido has no idea that CP0 is on Onigashima right now. So in terms of everything that's just happening, these CP0 agents have had a very ominous presence so far. They seem way too relaxed for a battle of this scale taking place, and everything seems to be heading as they expected, though they are going in with the assumption that Kaido is going to win this battle. But on the freak chances that the alliance does win, they intend on taking over Wano based on Rob Lucci's words here. And this is very interesting because this leads to more trouble for the alliance, because one of Luffy's intentions was to make Wano a place where Otama can eat whatever she likes. And if you have the world government implementing their jurisdiction onto Wano, there's bound to be conflict. And to top it off, this battle has been as hard as it can be because the alliance was short-handed when it came down to manpower. And from what we can see with the dwindling of each force, it seems like it's going to get to a point where each side is going to be completely decimated with no one having strength to fight anymore, except for individuals like Marco, Izo, and those guys. But overall, in terms of manpower, there isn't going to be that many people left after everything is done. So currently it's about 12,000 versus 8,000 in the favor of the Beast Pirates, but it's very likely that it's going to equalize with both sides taking each other out, which gives leeway for the CP0 to actually do a lot of things while all of these guys take each other out. So after the alliance is done fighting, they would then have to fight the incoming forces that Rob Lucci is bringing with him, which could harbor possibly Green Bull or the SSG, because they intend on subjugating anyone that stands in their way, and they need that kind of force to actually take over a country in the first place. So I would imagine that they have a lot of firepower coming with them. Something that we do also have to take into account is the strength of these 3 CP0 members that we see a couple of times now. The first time that we saw them was in Dressrosa when they came to announce Doflamingo's false resignation from the warlords. And from what it looks like, it seems like these 3 are probably the highest ranking members within CP0. We're not exactly sure, but the one in the middle does seem to be higher ranking than the others, as he seems to be taking on missions that are, for the most part, has some sort of importance on the balance of powers, right? So a lot of people, and myself included, think that this is most likely the leader of CP0, just because he's someone that has appeared over and over again. Now, we don't necessarily know how strong these guys are, and even though they are an intelligence unit, it's very likely that they are still very powerful. Now, if this guy is indeed the leader of CP0, then I would put him around Admiral level. I think it makes a lot of sense for the leader of the ones who protects the Celestial Dragons to be that powerful. Obviously, the Admirals also function as protectors of the Celestial Dragons, but I would also imagine that these guys are also very powerful as individuals, especially the middle one. And we do also have accounts where powerful individuals have avoided an encounter with these guys. Sabo was very wary of them in Dressrosa and chose to leave because they were now aware of his presence there. And we do also know that these guys clashed with the Blackbeard Pirates back in Baltigo, which ultimately resulted in the Blackbeard Pirates retreating. So they must have some incredible fighters within their ranks. Now, that was from the newspapers, and we can't really trust the newspapers that much because it's basically influenced by the world government. But even though we don't know what actually happened, it wouldn't surprise me that they were able to push back Blackbeard. And of course, with the Robin plotline back into play, I'm actually kind of scared for Robin because these guys are actually super intimidating. Because now we know that the other goal that they have in mind is to capture Nico Robin. And currently we know that Brook is the only person guarding her right now due to her being targeted by members of the Beast Pirates, because they know that she's going to be essential for the Kaido and Big Mom alliance. But I honestly doubt that Brook would be able to defend her from these guys. I think you would need someone like Marco to come into play here. And they seem to have complete confidence that they can capture her, knowing the amount of powerful individuals that are here right now. Now, I don't necessarily think that she's going to get captured, because that would be sort of a kick in the face to the 2 years that the Straw Hats spent training. But then again, we do need some tension in this arc, right? I wouldn't be surprised if something bad happens, because so far it seems like the Straw Hats have been coasting everything that's come their way. There hasn't been any major loss in probably the biggest skilled battle that they've ever had, so Robin could get captured to raise a bit of tension. Now, I do also want to mention X-Drake and Apu here. They seem to be working towards the same goal as the CP0. Obviously Apu more so than Drake, because I don't think Drake necessarily trusts Apu in all of this. So I could see these two perhaps playing a role in holding off the CP0, especially X-Drake, because he's affiliated with Sword, and I feel like Sword and CP0 are kind of in conflict, because I feel like Sword is the Marines' way of fighting back against the world government. And technically X-Drake does owe Luffy for making him into an ally, right? So maybe this is how X-Drake repays Luffy by defending Nico Robin when CP0 starts to make a move. So again, things aren't looking that good for the alliance right now in terms of the end goal of this arc, because so many things are just stacked up against them. I mean, it was bad enough with Kaido, but now with the CP0 seemingly making a move, it definitely makes things more interesting. I will also say that I do like the Robin plotline coming back into play here, because it was kind of teased back in Zou, where Nekomamushi told the Straw Hats that there is a possibility that people were going to start looking for Robin, right? Because so far it seemed like Robin was kind of pointless in the new world, where even though she could read the poneglyphs, there wasn't that many people that were looking for her. I mean, even the Yonkos didn't show an interest in her until recently. And since we got the reveal of other characters having the ability to read the poneglyphs, her value sort of diminished in some sense. You know, individuals like Pudding, we know that Odin could read the poneglyphs, and by default Momo should be able to in the future as well. As we kept going into the new world, there didn't seem to be anything relating to Robin, right? But now that it's back in play, it seems like her importance is starting to return, as she is now the target of the Yonko and also the CP0. And who knows, maybe Blackbeard could also come into play as well, given his devious ways of doing things. So I could see him possibly snatching Robin at a certain point in the story using devious tactics. So that wouldn't surprise me there. So I think as we head towards endgame, where the poneglyphs are going to become increasingly more important, it seems like there's going to be a lot of focus on individuals who can read the poneglyphs. So Robin being one of these individuals, it's no surprise there's going to be a huge focus on her. And Robin is one of a kind, because she's the only person that the world government is aware of that can read the poneglyphs. So it's going to be interesting how things are going to play out moving forward. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you guys think there's a high possibility that Robin could get captured here, or she gets close to being captured? What roles do you guys think the CP0 are going to play moving forward, apart from the Robin plotline? Are they going to be involved in handling the leftover scraps from Luffy versus Kaido? Comment down below what you guys think. But again, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I would appreciate it if you dropped a like on this video, hit the bell to be notified for future videos, and subscribe for more One Piece content on this channel. You can follow me on Twitter at FerrisSpace, but it is Ferrer, guys, and I will see you folks later. Peace.